Hoops Malone will not be seen tonight in order to bring you this special presentation.
NCAA basketball on ESPN. 20 years of great memories.
That's it. You go to overtime. Don't worry about it.
Miller, the floater off the glass. Goliath tried to follow Van Horn. Will he get it? He got it! He did it again! A miracle man for the second night in a row.
The tradition continues with Big Monday, presented by Bud Light. The night begins with Connecticut and Rutgers, and then at 9 Eastern, Kansas takes on Texas. And at midnight, Utah visits Wyoming. But we start with Big East basketball as UConn travels to the rack to take on Rutgers. The tip-off is next. ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is presented by Bud Light, with a great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
We can see all.
It's been a season of inconsistency for the defending champs. Time is marching on, and the Huskies are still looking to gather steam for the postseason. Meanwhile, here in Piscataway, talent and especially energy drive the Scarlet Knights. Tonight at the sold-out rack, they hope to beat the Huskies for the first time since joining the Big East. And tonight is a special night for many reasons here in Piscataway. It's senior night, and one of the most popular players to wear a Scarlet Knight uniform in many a year, Joel Salvi. You can see the fans that he's got. He is one of those honored on senior night tonight here in Rutgers. Welcome to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light. This is the first game of 3. We begin, as always, in the Big East with Connecticut, losers of 4 of their last 7, and taking on the hometown Scarlet Knights at 15-12. Looks a little bit strange to see Connecticut that far down in the Big East standings. They are 5th right now at 8-6. Rutgers 6-8 in 8th. But of course, as you can see how tight it is, a lot can change in just the next few days. Well, welcome everybody to Piscataway. I'm Dan Schulman along with Bill Raftery. Quite a ceremony for senior night, and part of the reason Joel Salvi, he is one of the most popular, energetic, and likable players you'll see.
The emotion, the enthusiasm. He has people changing their hairdo here at Rutgers, but he epitomizes what you should get out of college basketball.
He really is. He's fun to watch. If you haven't seen him, you owe it to yourself to watch him dive on the floor. It won't take long until he does that. Now, for UConn, it's been a different story. They've had a good year, but not the kind of year that many expected of them. What's been the problem? What's been the inconsistency?
I think the inconsistency has been the backcourt. El-Amin occasionally doesn't penetrate, occasionally doesn't get Albert Mouring involved. They have dilemmas where they have droughts where guys aren't as offensive-minded as they should be. But it all starts with the point guard. When he's on, they're pretty good.
Now look at the Holiday Inn starting lineups. We begin with Connecticut. And Ajo Deng steps in as a starter tonight with the suspension of Edmund Saunders. He is out indefinitely. And right off the tip, Rutgers takes it in. Jeff Greer lays it in. And the Scarlet Knights have an early lead.
And Rutgers counters. Wait a minute. Dan Schulman.
For Rutgers, Joel Salvi and Alvidas Tanis, neither of whom normally start. Both are starting tonight, with this being senior night. There is a third player who's a senior, Ian Projan, a walk-on. Khalid El-Amin with a jumper, no good. Offensive rebound, Kevin Freeman will draw the foul. And Jim Calhoun talked about it this morning. The closer Freeman is to the basket, generally the better he's played, the more confident he's been. They really need a push from him down the stretch.
Well, the St. John's game, he made outside shots, but when he is a presence around the rim, it's a much tougher-minded team. They need putbacks. They need easier baskets.
Here's the Rutgers lineup. Again, Salvi and Tanis stepping in. Rashad Kent and Eugene Dabney, generally the starters. They'll both be seen a lot, obviously. Dahntay Jones, another very exciting player who hasn't gotten a lot of national attention, but what an athlete.
Well, I think he's got an awful lot to give in this program. He dominates on occasion. Once in a while does not get in position to take the shot or drive at the proper time, but I'm very impressed with his ability.
Freeman hits them both to tie it at 2. This is Todd Billett, the younger brother of Jeff, who was the point guard here the last 4 years. Now they've got 4 more years of a Billett in the backcourt.
And the 2-2-1 is staple of Jim Calhoun over the years, and Rutgers will look to attack on occasion.
Greer on the wing, Mouring on him.
Good with the dribble. Tough match for Freeman away from the basket.
And Salvi wants Tanis. Tanis gives it back to Salvi, but he was going in a different direction, and the shot clock's at 5. Salvi forced to put it up from the corner. And the rebound to Khalid El-Amin.
Well, that would have raised the roof early. Well, he thinks he's a deep shooter now.
He's added the mid-range jumper, but he has really made his mark in the hustle departments.
UConn, when they go inside, and Voskuhl has big games, a lot tougher. Hajo now with the little jump hook.
And a rebound for Freeman. He's off to a good start.
And Jones has to bang him. He gives away a couple inches. Got to stick.
Connecticut coming off a nail-biter of a win over West Virginia, 72-71, on a length-of-the-floor drive by Khalid El-Amin in the last 5 seconds of the game. Otherwise, the Huskies would have lost 5 of their last 7.
Good hands by Salvi.
Deng finds El-Amin, and El-Amin finds the bottom of the net.
And that's where you pay for hustling. Billett tried to help out, paid for it.
Kevin Bannon doesn't really have that many concerns about Todd Billett and the pressure. He feels the freshman is poised beyond his years at handling this kind of thing. Jones misses the 3. Voskuhl the rebound.
And the run out, something that they were concerned with. Kevin Bannon says you don't get back, you pay for it. He's pacing the sideline in that particular play.
Connecticut now up 6-2. They've scored the last 6 points after Greer got Rutgers started. Jones over penetrates. And it is knocked out of bounds off Connecticut, says Jimmy Burr.
A nice step in by Voskuhl. And you mentioned Billett. And looking at games, Dan, the one problem he may have is getting his shot. So he's got to have a quick release when he catches it and use the dribble to free himself as well.
Tanise left open from 17.
Oh, he's got the sash off. And they presented him with a little sash.
Yeah, a traditional Lithuanian sash, which is emblematic of one bringing honor to himself and his country. That was Tanise's reward on senior night. 8-4 now, UConn.
And Jake Voskuhl bringing honor to Texas with that putback. Straight Jesuit. The fun about this job is to see guys grow up in the course of their 4 years. And Jake, a guy who come in and part of this great tradition of UConn at this stage. Game notes here. Rutgers 0-7. Wow, 14 points.
Billett the miss. Connecticut, as Salvi follows it, but misses the shot and then tries to rip it away from Freeman. Good luck on that. Connecticut is the only program that Rutgers has not beaten since joining the Big East 5 years ago.
They slide behind, give El-Amin the deep one. You see Billett go behind Tanise.
Deng trying to post up on Salvi. Deng with a height advantage and a reach advantage, but not very strong. He can hit this shot, though. He's got an incredible mid-range game.
Sure does. Not bad, that 10-footer either. The big thing are matchups in watching them as well. Who does he guard? Bigger, comes away from the basket, has a little problem with the dribble.
Freeman and Ajo Deng kind of interchangeable at the 3 and 4 spots right now, although neither one really fits the mold of either position perfectly. Freeman does at this level as a power forward, but he's wanted to expand his game, move away from the basket, and really, to be honest with you, with mixed results.
And again, I think that's why they put him back inside a little bit. And again, he makes jumpers the other night against St. John's.
Billett again.
There you go. Get him free. He's got to keep active without the basketball when you're a shooter. Nice job by Salvi.
Voskuhl inside. A travel is the call. And we've got our first timeout just over 4 minutes in. The Todd Billett 3 gets Rutgers back within 3 of UConn.
Watch and
Connecticut up by 3, only scheduled meeting of the season between UConn and Rutgers, and a big reason for the early strong start of the Huskies is what they've done on the offensive glass, and they have made the most of those rebounds.
Well, getting to the glass is something that's made a career for Kevin Freeman. I mean, solid contributor. Jump shots improved. He competes, and a terrific defender.
He's a fantastic college power forward. Was named the most valuable player at the Big East tournament last year, and it looks like, as you said, Jim Calhoun's going to try to get him a little closer to the basket more often. Rashad Kent, Eugene Dabney into the game, so Salvi and Tanise have gone out. Tanise may or may not return. Salvi definitely will. He's playing about 23 minutes off the bench.
When Billett off the basketball, has to keep Khalid El-Amin, fatigue him, keep himself moving. They got good penetrators in Jones and Greer. Nice back cut, a little late for the look.
And stolen by the Huskies. Mouring knocked it away.
You can see it, but you don't make the pass on time.
El-Amin making the drive look easy. Missed the shot, though.
Like to see Mouring get... Oh, he walked. Ajo did a little dance.
You got a few thousand people who agree with you.
A little ding-ding.
Now Freeman up top. El-Amin and Mouring in the backcourt. Here comes Mouring, one of the best shooters in the Big East. 47% this year from beyond the arc. Turnaround jumper, Voskuhl, no, and the rebound to Kent.
And that may have been the little hook shot, that particular trip. I mean, knowing what shots to take, so important for a center. Slide behind as Kent lays the wood.
Kent giving up all kinds of height, but one of the strongest players around at 6'6" and 265. He made a beautiful move, but couldn't lay it in left hand.
And Debbie just a little weak with the grasp there as he got to the rim. Quick feet, almost 2 steals a game, Rashad Kent. And you can just see here, Jake with the body hug and the quickness and strength with the derriere.
This is a Rutgers team which is very young. They start 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior.
And here's a little stagger on one side for Mouring and a single on the other.
And Mouring did a great job to avoid Dabney.
Trying to run some things to get him on track. Wasn't very confident in New York. Hopefully he gets it back. I think when Connecticut gets into the tournament, they'll be a better team.
Yeah.
Everybody is ready for them. They're marked people.
I don't think you'll find the Big East coaches lining up wanting to play them in the Big East tournament. Offensive rebound for Kent. And then a block by Suleiman Wan, who is in for Jake Voskuhl in the middle. Give it a go, and offensive foul, Kevin Freeman.
And I agree with Kevin Freeman on this one. Jones does the right thing, though. The flop, you see all of the ability off the basketball when you have good scores. And Jimmy Calhoun's run some nice stuff in the course of the year for Hamilton. He ran it for Mouring. But that particular trip, would you agree or no?
Yeah, I think you're right.
A little flopperoo.
Sometimes the bigger guy gets penalized just for being the bigger guy.
Bill Lambierish. No offense, Bill.
It's an art. It's a skill.
Dennis Rodman's another guy.
Connecticut off to a good start from the field, as you saw, at 50%. Huskies are 19-8, 8-6 in the Big East. And in 5th place in the conference right now, albeit with an imbalanced schedule. They've had a tough Big East schedule. You don't play everybody equally in this conference as you do, say, in the ACC.
Gotta shoot it.
And Billett doesn't know it. And they don't get the shot off in time.
And that's one where Greer did a nice job getting to the rim, but defensively, Connecticut shoved them under the glass and didn't grasp the basketball when it was passed. Right now, using a lot of clock, and I think it's more Connecticut's defense that's causing it.
Tony Robertson comes into the game for UConn. Freshman out of Pawtucket. Ajo Deng sits down.
Big upside to Tony. Can play a little point once in a while.
3-guard look right now for UConn with Robertson, Mouring, and El-Amin all on the floor at the same time.
And there's that little circle play usually for Rip Hamilton.
Mouring penetrates, hangs from 15. Another rebound for Freeman. A putback and a foul.
Big time snatch. In traffic as well. I mean, there's what you mentioned, the power forward on the college level. And look at the ripples in those shoulders. And you can just see the ability of Mouring to attract 2 opens up the defensive checkout. Nobody puts a body on the power-laden Kevin Freeman.
Freeman already has 6 points and 5 rebounds tonight. You see his season numbers, which are down, both the points and the rebounds, down fairly significantly from last year when he played exclusively power forward because, of course, Richard Hamilton was the small forward.
Now, also people start talking to players. You know, you want to play after this. You've got to develop an outside game, and it makes it difficult.
Yeah, what's best for you at the next level may not be best for your team at this level. 8-point lead, UConn.
It's a fight for all coaches. Good footwork inside. They don't go to Mouring on Kent. And a pretty good call here is Jones with that power, able to turn the corner on Wan.
First on Suleiman Wan. Dahntay Jones with that extra gear.
Well, his ability to turn the corner with strength is something that puts him aside on the inbounds, able to elevate and knock it down.
Jones with a basket, and it's 15-9 UConn. Less than 8 minutes in here, first half. Another good crowd and a loud crowd at the rack. One of the best atmospheres you'll find in this conference.
You get a little goosebumps when you come in here, huh?
It's fun. You and I were here last year when they knocked off Syracuse, stormed the floor. What a drive and a shot there for Tony Robertson.
He can be creative in the 3-second lane. Don't wear anything red if you want to be recognized here, though.
Dabney, nice feed to Kent.
And not the coverage. Mouring delayed outside. You must sprint down there and take away the passing lane if you're trapping.
El-Amin got a screen and hit the 3.
And they've been pained by slipping behind. Nice read by Collin.
5 for El-Amin, who's the leading scorer on UConn at 16.5 per game. Dabney challenges one. And there's the second foul in a hurry on Suleiman Awan.
And Kevin Bannon applauding over there simply because they're attacking, taking advantage. When you've got the right numbers, go to it. And this is the difficulty, I think, on that particular play when they doubled and didn't cover on the box area. They don't have the foot speed maybe that you would expect with Juan and Deng out there. They go out to help on a double, and the coverage is not quite the same.
At the line at Dabney, redshirt freshman out of Birmingham, Alabama. Knee injury last year, cost him most of the season. Got a medical redshirt out of it. And some changes for both teams. Deng and Voskuhl back in. Freeman and El-Amin check out. And Luis Flores has come in for the first time, a freshman out of Washington Heights, New York. And in the words of Kevin Bannon, a fearless player.
Thinks offense. Yeah. I mean, he's coming in to ring the bell.
35 points per game last year to lead all New York City high schoolers. We've got a break. 20-13, Rutgers trailing UConn here at the rack.
Call it a bit.
Back at the rack, UConn by 7. We talked about how inconsistent recently Connecticut's backcourt has been offensively. They're off to a big start tonight.
Well, it's important that you run some set plays, too, to get guys off. Albert Mouring, a guy who understands how to get himself free, the ability to hang in the lane, use the stagger on one side, the single on the other, and then you complement that with some penetration, as Robertson provided them. They're trying to find themselves. I have not seen a Connecticut team where they don't have the personality that existed the last 10, 12 years. When you think of it, it's all of a sudden people came at them, and I think they felt, well, maybe we're not as good as a team, not as a coaching staff. You start to question yourself a little bit.
It's funny, though, with a senior in Freeman and a senior in Voskuhl and the most confident junior in the country in El-Amin, that they have succumbed to these kinds of things. But when you look at their schedule, not that you would expect them to have 8 losses, but it would have been unrealistic for them to go through the year with only 2.
No, I think they got shattered a little bit. Then when you lose that confidence level, you lose the swagger.
Jones left alone on the wing, hits the 3.
And that's the recovery. Twice now, once at the rim and once outside. UConn unable to come back and tag.
Jones says he took 500 3-pointers a day this summer. And with good results here this year, his percentages are up.
Gotta catch that one, Dan. Nice post pass, maybe a little hard.
Flores. He knew he missed it, so he followed it, and good thing he did.
I thought he was going to jack the next one up, though. He was wide open.
And then a careless turnover by the Scarlet Knights.
And maybe he should have.
El-Amin back in, Mouring out. Jim Calhoun talked this morning about still searching for a rotation. Part of it, the loss of Hamilton, who was going to step up and be the scorer. The loss of Ricky Moore, which doesn't get enough attention, who's going to step up and be that defensive glue. And then they've had some off-the-court issues. Doug Wren suspended a couple of times. Now Edmund Saunders suspended. Tony Robertson was suspended for a game.
Good pass. Robertson, and Jake takes the hit. You know, people understand that is so difficult for a team when you have off-the-floor problems. It just takes away the rhythm. And here's the penetration, the draw, the delivery. And Jake taking the hit. And that's one, as Jake gets a year or 2 older, I think he will make it. You're a little jealous of the hair?
I'm a lot jealous of the hair. I'm jealous of your hair.
Oh, boy, you're really in trouble.
At the line of Voskuhl. Well, let me ask you about him. You said, you think he'll make it. Will that offensive game continue to improve? And where's Jake Voskuhl? What's he doing after this?
Well, I think he'll work at it. And if you will work at it, good things will happen. I mean, he's not going to be an all-star center, but he's a guy that, if he works at it, can make a living.
Running out of time to try and pick up that first career 20-point game in the Huskies uniform. He got to 19 this year. He averages about 8.5.
And what a lift he gives them when he rings the bell, too.
Jake Voskuhl has started more games in a Connecticut uniform than any other player in Husky history.
Nice screen and use by Jones.
Can't follow.
Wow, 6 have been packing a lot of lead getting up there.
Rutgers right back in this game after trailing pretty heavily early. They're back within 4 at 22-18. Voskuhl not looking for the ball right now. Sets a screen for Deng.
It's a little bit of a match right now. See how they're staying, and then once in a while follow. Here's the switch. Good strong move.
With the left hand.
Oh, big time, Jake.
Voskuhl now with 6. And a 6-point lead for the Huskies.
And it's smart because that's the area where Rutgers does have a dilemma occasionally. Being physical down the box area. Screen across.
Dabney looking for Dahntay Jones. Now back into the hands of Billett with the shot clock at 10.
So a few touches there are in the box area. That's why Kent's got to dip down and get near the rim.
And Jones has to create, and Ajo Deng affected that shot, and now numbers for the Huskies.
Good catch.
Deng will shoot the 3 if you leave him alone.
And look who's posted up.
All 5-10 of them, if that. Robertson for 3.
And a good give back by El-Amin. Tony wide open, got the puppy set. Rutgers is having difficulty getting back and identifying at this point.
And Jim Burr has stopped the clock. Eugene Dabney is limping off the floor. El-Amin with a big start to this game tonight to put UConn up by 9 as Dabney makes his way to the bench. Salvi is back in.
And it looks like it's his good leg, too, so that's a good sign. Maybe just a little ankle sprain he's feeling down there. Well, Bob Mulcahy, the AD, has made this a fashionable place to be.
Wow. Celebrities galore here tonight, huh?
David Fay, the head of the USGA, is here. I do have something to deliver later. Especially for those people who enjoy TV
That's
shows.
Right.
You can become wealthy.
Kent double team, finds Salvi, finds Greer, who's checked back in. Yeah, the fellow who won the first $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Billionaire is here, and he's a Rutgers grad.
And Bob Mulcahy's trying to just tell him how much he loves it.
Salvi forcing it inside. Like you said, nothing in the paint for Rutgers tonight. Robertson all the way to draw the foul.
Big time slide by, too. Kids are so good at stepping up outside that rim area to pick up the charge. If you don't know how to jump stop and slither, you're going to end up with a foul.
Well, we got a couple more games coming up tonight here on a Big Monday presented by Bud Light. We're down to Austin into the Big 12 for a huge one between Kansas and Texas. Texas just a game back of Iowa State for top spot of the Big 12. And then at midnight, it's Utah. Hana Medal back, but Utah, a loser on the weekend, fell out of the top 25. They'll take on Wyoming. For more on a college hoop, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, and Go.com.
And I believe they can clinch if they beat Wyoming. The Mountain Division, or the Mountain League.
Your Mountain West. We'll step aside with a timeout. UConn has scored the last 6 points to extend their lead to 10 over Rutgers.
Men.
Connecticut on the road with a 10-point lead on Rutgers. 7:50 to play first half. Well, we talked about the celebrities. The Rack is the place to be right now. Ray Lucas is here. Rutgers all-time leader in touchdown passes back in the early to mid-90s and starting quarterback for the New York Jets. And there are the millionaires on the left. John Carpenter, a Rutgers grad and a former member of the marching band here. He won the $1 million, and as he's pointing out, White Debbie is a UConn grad. So forget the $1 million. Now you're talking serious.
He won it. She'll spend it. That was Bob Mulcahy in the middle there. He's making it a fun place to be. A little challenge at the Garden and the Meadowlands, huh? Bringing out the celebrities.
I said to the millionaire, you know, we might put you on TV if that's all right. He goes, I'm used to it.
Guess who he works for?
Who?
The IRS.
Oh, really?
I said, you better get a good accountant.
Strong rebound by Voskuhl, who's had a good start. Marcus Coxon to the game now for the Huskies. Freshman from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Inside to Ajo Deng, and there's that 7-foot 4-inch wingspan.
It wasn't pretty, but effective. You get that deep, good things will happen.
12-point lead, largest of the night for Connecticut. Looking for their 20th win this season. They are ranked 24th right now and have a good RPI because of their strength of schedule and some impressive wins earlier in the year over the likes of Duke, Arizona, Texas.
And right now, I think Joe Salvi has to put his imprint on this game. They need a little motion. You mentioned diving and getting down dirty. That 6-man lift that he provides.
Again, the shot clock running way down, and he's forced to create, and didn't got a piece of it. You're right.
Formidable object on the defensive end.
Mouring gets inside by Flores, and Bosco slams home the follow.
How about that rearrangement? Oh, a floral display. The great penetration. Oh, my goodness. Are they calling that foul earlier? They're going to count the goal for Jake.
UConn off to a huge start, and Kevin Bannon has seen enough. He needs a timeout here in Piscataway. Connecticut dominating the Scarlet Knights inside. Now, the rack holds about 8,500 people, and generally that's about how many they have here. This game was sold out, we're told, 3 months ago. For UConn coming in, not only the defending national champs, but also senior night. Right now, though, it's the Husky Blue who are enjoying things more than the Rutgers Red.
And Jake, part of that reason, you mentioned Freeman early with offensive rebounds. That was a Rutgers timeout. And that's why they didn't shoot the free throw before. And Jake with a strong move, but penetration's been very formidable for UConn.
There's the school record number of starts for the senior as he bangs it in for his 9th point here in the first half.
Just a little off kilter with their offense right now, Rutgers. Don't you feel, Dan? They just can't seem to get in sync.
They're using 25, 30 seconds every time down. Now here's a quicker trip and a better look for Billett.
And Billett with a little wolf, too. A little discard with the hands.
His second three of the night. Good reach around by the club leader in steals, Rashad Kent.
Now Marcus Cox so deep on the floor for that entry pass. Got to use better judgment.
Rutgers coming off a disheartening loss at Pitt. There's Salvi inside.
And a nice pass by Billett. He's the excitement. And Calhoun's got the timeout here. He's not real happy with the pass. And then the last particular play.
And it's Cox in particular that he wants to speak with as the fans get revved up here at the rack.
Salvi can do it. He lights up her room. He's a little different than Boeheim. He lights it up when he leaves. Salvi lights it up when he walks
Very
in.
nice.
Jimmy's got himself a club.
You're going to see more of Connecticut, more of Rutgers, more of everybody in the Big East, because coming up next from Madison next week from Madison Square Garden, it's the Big East Championship. 4 days, 13 teams, 12 games, 1 Big Apple, and just 1 champion when we're all said and done. ESPN and ESPN2 present the AT&T Big East Championship Tip to Trophy. Begins Wednesday, and again right now Connecticut fitting in as the number 5 seed. They cannot get into the top 3, which means they will not get a first round bye. They have been the number 1 seed heading into the Big East tournament 5 of the last 6 years.
And Jake drifts high to give Deng a little room down low. It's a tough out at 5, I think, for somebody, because if they get it going, look, it's a really much more power basketball than I've seen UConn exhibit. Nice look. And Jake with the finesse.
I remember Dabney injured a leg, went out a few minutes ago, and right now Salvi at a generous 6'7" is the tallest player on the floor for Rutgers.
And that's what Kevin Bannon was saying. Herb Lemenzano is coming here, but they hope to continue to get some inside assistance. Nice post pass here. Jake gets a little nickel dimer with the discard.
You know, once Rashad Kent gets his rear end between you and the ball, it's pretty much over. You just can't reach around.
You're usually in the parking lot. Quick feet, great strength. I mentioned this once before. We had a wonderful player my first year at Seton Hall, Kenny House, built just like Rashad Kent. And the same kind of a game. Beats you with the foot speed, the strength, and good touch.
He's 30 pounds lighter than he was last year. He was pushing 300 pounds last year. Billett's 3 rattles out, and another rebound for Voskuhl.
Good solid shake.
El-Amin cut off by Greer.
Step shake, caught it, and then took the step. That's one of those advantage hops you'll see players try and get away with. You know, Lou Perkins, who's the athletic director for Jim Calhoun, he's here. He brought a priest, Father Dan. They want to get going. Lou's reaching.
Time to pull out all the stops.
All the stops.
Well, as you said, they're still not a team that people want to run into, whether it's next week in New York or beyond that in the NCAA tournament. And Jim Calhoun's talked about it, how he thinks they've still got a chance to be a very good team. And with the imbalanced schedule in the Big East, they've had to play St. John's twice, Syracuse twice, Seton Hall twice, whereas other teams may wind up getting their double matchups against Providence, Pittsburgh, Boston College. The schedule is not balanced, and it's had an effect on records and rankings.
Well, having said that, I don't think Jimmy would disagree. They haven't played as well as he would like.
No question.
And that particular play there, as Juan just reached in, indicative of that defense lacking. They have always been a terrific defensive team, whether it's full or half. And sometimes get a little lazy in this end of the game.
Great position for Kent, and he'll muscle it in.
Well, he is tough. Lock and load. The big guy.
6 for Rashad Kent. El-Amin in too deep, kicked it out, got it back.
Boy, that's a pretty good play. Instead of a turnover.
Now Freeman going to work on Salvi. Kent came over to help. You're right. The arrow will keep it with the Huskies, but Rashad Kent has had a tremendous couple of minutes here.
Well, that'll get you into the game a little bit. They've been lethargic, have not been involved as Kevin Bannon would like, but a little more aggressive on the defensive end.
They're only down 10 and have shown definite signs of life the last few trips. As has the crowd now.
Little flare screen, and that wasn't the play.
Numbers for Rutgers, but Billets led too far. Jeff Greer had numbers and just overthrew the pass.
That's what makes college basketball fun, not for coaches. Connecticut ran a flare screen. The flarer went to the side. The ball went down the lane. Then Rutgers gets a run out. It's too far.
They'll use that one. They're still down 10. Connecticut with the ball. From the baseline, Mouring.
Well, he looks more into it. I felt the body vibes weren't good at the Garden.
Well, last week against St. John's, El-Amin and Mouring combined to go 0 for 16 from the floor. Just a couple of points between them. El-Amin just runs in and offensive foul.
And over in the wing was Albert Mouring, and he just couldn't get vision. Collins, he got into traffic there.
And with Rashad Kent becoming an increasingly large factor in this game, the Scarlet Knights have rallied to get within 10. Dan Shulman and Bill Raftery back with you in Piscataway, where Jake Voskuhl, he's always solid, he's always steady, great defender, but tonight he has been very impressive at the offensive end.
Well, the one thing they have to improve in is the offensive rebounding. Penetration was lacking in some games I saw recently. There's Jake's the recipient, but right here, the little jump hook, knocked down a little nylon, and that's the strength that he can possess. They're going to him. He's been consistent, and he looks like he's enjoying being a factor. And if they're going to do anything, it's those broad shoulders that I think are going to have to carry him on the offensive end a little more than they've anticipated.
Still searching for an offensive identity without Richard Hamilton this year. Khalid El-Amin forced to become more of a scorer. Kevin Freeman moving away from the basket, forced to change his game. Mouring becomes a starter, a great shooter, but he's been streaky at times. And Voskuhl, again, a better defender. So things just not as clear offensively as they were a year ago.
And Collins doing a nice job keeping Billett out of the game. Trying not to limit his touches. If he gets it, look how far out he is. Here's a little stack series.
Again, the shot clock under 10. Jones just lost Robertson, and Voskuhl with a block on Salvi. Salvi gets it back. Kent, the tip is good.
Well, that's aggressive basketball right there. And somebody injured. Let's see. Is that Robertson down there? Kent, a power-laden individual around the block, but Salvi met with force by Jake Voskuhl.
And it is Tony Robertson down. Ajo Deng is going to check back in for him as we try to see what happens.
And there's the penetration right away. Jake real strong. And see all the white shirts in good position to dominate. Jones takes out Robertson. Just need to follow through with the hand is what nailed him.
Inadvertent left elbow by Rashad Kent has knocked Tony Robertson woozy.
And you love it when it's just clean play, aggressive play, in an unfortunate situation when you're caught unarmed. Joe Sharp, busy. Trainer of UConn.
More basketball tomorrow night on ESPN. It's Super Tuesday, and it's the Battle of the State of Indiana with Gene Katie's Boilermakers. Once again, they're up at the top of the Big Ten standings, a half game ahead of Michigan State and Ohio State. They'll travel to Bloomington, where the Hoosiers are coming off a win in overtime over Michigan State. And then the second game, Kentucky, just a game back of Florida in the SEC East at Mississippi State. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. Every conference with great races and such meaningful games at this point of the season.
And how about Gene Katie? Every year he's overlooked.
Every year.
Hanging around there. A little matchup, and they stick it deep with Albert. I'll leave you in Mouring.
Wrong guy to leave open. Mouring, the #1 3-point shooter in the Big East Conference. Up close to 50% in conference games and overall. Nice look for Kent, and an equally good pass to Salvi.
And nice job, both Greer, Kent, and the salvo by Salvi. They drew attention and finished.
What a battle of the big man tonight between Voskuhl and Kent. Both have been outstanding.
It's an area that the Rutgers has to step it up defensively, get the crowd involved a little bit, take advantage.
They're involved now. Rutgers back within 9. And a turnover. Oh, wow.
Carry.
Yep.
Yeah, little luggage. Pay to Bellman.
And Greer wants to make a good decision. Remember, it was Greer who threw the pass too far for Billett last time they had a break.
El-Amin really trying to be physical with Billett. They do have 3 people on the perimeter that can handle it. I think of Jones, Greer, and Billett.
Jones by Freeman and a foul. It's going to be a tough matchup for Freeman out on the perimeter.
How about the explosivity there as Dahntay dares get by, but inside passing is something that Rutgers does well. Kent with a pretty good presentation on the low block, but here he draws a little suckage, and Salvi, I got a kick the first time I saw him play. I mean, so much emotion. He gets the crowd into it. Changed the hairdo a few times just to see if his followers would stick with him.
Well, you know, we might not lose touch with Joel Salvi. He's a communications major, and I mentioned to him that, you know, your best days are behind you, and that maybe we might need a new partner, and he's interested.
I'm glad to hear I had best days. I know a lot's behind you. Well, he's got the charm, the wit.
Yes,
he may be a little too intelligent to do my job there.
Robertson is back in. He's still kind of shaking his head a little bit as if he's a little bit groggy, but he's back into the game.
Took that hand as he went down. Tom Moore in the background. And Jimmy's assistants, Carl Hobbs, Dave Leto as well. It's been tough on that staff. And chatting with different guys at different times. They just keep everybody's high hopes at that level.
Being defended by Salvi out on the perimeter. 1.5 minutes to go first half.
So this is the time I think I'd be going to Jake. Get thinking about it. He's been having a good game. Give him some touches on the block.
Instead, it's Mouring from outside for a 3.
That's how much I know. Well, it's good to see him out.
Mouring now with 8, his second 3 of the night.
I'd love to see guys get their confidence back.
How about UConn from outside? 4 of 4 from 3-point range.
They love that back cut on the wing as Jones got good feet.
Salvi with a tough pass inside for Kent, and Rutgers doing a much better job getting the ball inside the last 4 or 5 minutes.
I mean, this is a together team today. The disappointment of Pitt behind them, and the ability to get the shirts, the blue shirts, turning and facing him, and then distribute the basketball has been sound.
At the line, Kent, and this is an adventure. He's a 49% shooter from the free throw line.
Is it wet?
It's an adventure.
He's up high enough.
It was high. Coming up at halftime, we'll analyze that shot. And Brian Kenny and Digger Phelps will give you the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. The Eastern team for the McDonald's All-Americans, and an update on Auburn's Chris Porter.
Truly one of the exciting games because you see the players for the next 4 years, hopefully.
The West team will be announced at halftime of the Kansas-Texas game.
A run out here. Numbers.
Help on either side, and it's Robertson to lay it in.
Boy, they can explode down the floor. You kind of old. And you don't get back, you pay.
And all of a sudden, it's back to 13.
That's one thing they haven't had this year. They bang it. And 3-4 quick goals.
Not scoring as much in transition this year. Salvi left open. Long jumper was blocked. Ajo Deng got a piece.
A little frustration there as Joel gets the bang.
First on Salvi.
Well, long rebounds generally help the opponent. And you don't have the coverage. The only one back is Todd Billett. Wisely lets him go. Nice little slide by Tony Robinson. And Colin hearing it, he hears it in every gym. He just turned to the band section.
Shot clock turned off for the final seconds of the first half. UConn on the strength of some great play from Jake Voskuhl. He's got a game-high 11 and some outstanding perimeter shooting. The Huskies holding a 13-point lead on the Scarlet Knights.
Now, this is one where you might try and double this pick and roll. Just zone it up in the back.
And down to 5. And Robertson traveled, so Rutgers will have 3 seconds to try and narrow the gap.
See, things like that didn't happen to UConn in the past few years. I mean, they would get the last shot and maybe a tip, but little breakdowns that impede their progress during the course of a game.
El-Amin out. Marcus Cox in to play a little defense. Dahntay Jones has a ways to go. Greer will get it off. And we hit the half with UConn leading 43-30. Jake Voskuhl with a huge first half, 11 points and 6 rebounds. And as you can see, when the Huskies lead at the break, they've been tough this year. 17-2. UConn by 13. Now to the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Brian Kenny and Digger Phelps. Guys.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Brian Kenny, Digger Phelps here, and so UConn snapping out of it a little bit at the expense of Rutgers, and Voskuhl having a very good first half, Digger.
But it started with Kevin Freeman. He started out 7 points, 5 rebounds. In Rutgers, as they did against Pitt, they started that game 0 for 11. Tonight they go 3 for 11, and that's why UConn has this lead going in at halftime.
We're going to be presenting to you the All-American High School team, the team that will be playing in the McDonald's game coming up later in March. We've got future Big East players on the way, Eddie Griffin and more. We come back after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball, presented by Bud Light, is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And welcome back to the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Brian Kenny here. Digger will be joining us in a few moments. We'll be talking about the Chris Porter situation as well. The McDonald's All-American High School team, though, ready to be presented to you. I'm going to start with the Eastern team. The game March 29th at the Fleet Center in Boston. We'll present the West team during the Texas-Kansas halftime. But here now, the Eastern team, coached by William Loughnane of South Boston High School. Start off, a UConn recruit out of Astoria, Queens, Talik Brown, 6'1" guard, 4-year starter at St. John's Prep. He averages 23 points and 6 assists per game. Another New York City guard in the backcourt, Andre Barrett, 5'9" guard out of Rice High School. Led Rice to the New York State Championship, Class 8 championship in both 1998 and 1999. 13 assists per game. He's going to Seton Hall. Still in New York out of Christ the King High School, Omar Cook, 6'1" guard, staying in Borough at St. John's University. A great passer, 3.0 GPA. He averages 19 points and 12 assists per game. The true point guard. And go to St. John's. Out of West Rowan High School in North Carolina, Scooter Sherrill, 6'3" guard, broke Jerry Stackhouse's state record for points in a single season. He's going to NC State. Out of Columbia, South Carolina, Jerome Harper, 6'5" guard at Kenan High School, 24 points, 8 boards a game. He's going to Cincinnati. To the front court, Eddie Griffin at Roman Catholic High in Philadelphia, 6'9" and completely dominant, averaging 27 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 blocks per game. Part of Tommy Amaker's prized class, going to Seton Hall. Also at forward, Alabama's Gerald Wallace, 6'7". He averages 29 points per game. He's known for a sensational aerial attack. He's headed to the University of Alabama. Another player headed to UConn out of Central Catholic in Lawrence, Massachusetts, Scott Hazelton, 6'7" forward. Last year averaged 30 points a game, led his team to the Division I state title, and was named the Massachusetts Player of the Year. And in the front court, another big man from Jackson, Mississippi, Darius Rice, 6'10". Rice, the nephew of NFL great Jerry Rice. He also brings home a 3.5 GPA. That's Digger Phelps territory at Beacon High. Rice undecided for college. I saw the transcripts. In low post from York, Alabama, Mario Alston, 6'9", 255, 24 points, 16 rebounds a game. He's headed to Mississippi State. And from Hopkins, South Carolina, Rolando Howell, 6'9", 220. As a junior, led Lower Richland High School to a state title. He and his brother Ivan will be going to the University of South Carolina. And the big boy joining the band, 7'6". Neil Fingleton, 7'6", 308 from Durham, England. He's only been playing basketball for 4 years. He'll be attending North Carolina. Well, the McDonald's All-American High School basketball game, March 29th at the Fleet Center in Boston. Starts off 7 Eastern time. The Sprite Slam Jam three-point shooting contest. The game itself at 8 Eastern and then 10 Eastern. The Sprite Slam Jam Slam Dunk contest. That can all be seen March 29th here on ESPN. Take a break.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball presented by Bud Light is brought to you by Courtyard by Marriott, the hotel designed by business travelers.
Pretty impressive first half for the UConn Huskies, up 13 in what's one of the tougher places to come and play in the Big East Conference, leading Rutgers 43-30. And Jake Bosco really had a tremendous half at both ends, but it's the offensive numbers that jump out because he's not normally a big scorer. 11 points and 6 rebounds. That was the muscle inside. There was also a lot of finesse outside for those backcourt guys we were talking about.
Well, Dan, think of the power with Bosco to get some points. Freeman on the offensive glass. Now they get the guards in sync, looking and cutting, getting available. Something that had been lacking here. Mouring looking for shots, his ability to make a deep one, then to use the bump along the baseline, space out and convert. Unselfish play too as the extra pass is made, and then the ability to use the pick, hide, and drill a little nylon, and Khaled finding people to give back here. Unselfish play. So I think their personality emanates from the guard spot.
I asked Jim Calhoun this morning if Khaled El-Amin has to be the one to lead them out of this and to get them back to where they need to be. He says it's got to be El-Amin, and El-Amin had a good first half. 5 assists, 5 points. Albert Mouring hit a couple of threes. UConn, in fact, was perfect from three-point range in the first half. 4 of 4. El-Amin had 1. Mouring had 2, and Tony Robertson had 1, and El-Amin is not on the floor to start the second half. Tony Robertson joins Albert Mouring in the backcourt.
And I don't know whether Billett is tiring him out running after him, or he is 1, fatigued, 2, not feeling well, but what a surprise.
El-Amin begins the second half on the bench. Inside with a basket and a foul. Good strength for Dahntay Jones.
And I like the call by Kevin Bannon. Let's get to the foul line. Whether you make the shot or not, let's get some inner strength. Be decisive. Be strong. And nobody's stronger other than Kent on this basketball team than Dahntay with a little kiss.
Foul on Freeman. That's his third. That's a factor.
But what's your guess now, Dan, as Khaled makes himself available? He approaches the scorer's table.
Doesn't look like it's too serious because here he comes.
Interesting. It may have been something. Maybe he came out late.
You never can tell these days in college basketball.
You know, I'm thinking of Johnny Helmsley.
That was a mystery the entire night.
And you know, the great thing, Miami winning, you hope that guys figure it out. And that's the key, whatever the problem happens to be. They go inside again. Jake unable to convert, though. Jimmy Calhoun thought they should get to the foul line.
And Tanise starts the second half for Rutgers, looking for a little more size. Remember, Dabney left with a leg injury. He generally is the starter in the middle. Tip to Deng. Off for Mouring. And knocked it out of bounds. Still belongs to UConn.
A lot of ooh and ah going on here. But Jake with a great deflection on his post defense as Kent nailed them inside.
Have a look at the shooting percentage for UConn in the first half. 64%. Perfect from beyond the arc. Dominating on the glass. Turning them into baskets. In spite of 9 turnovers, they have a pretty comfortable lead.
I think this might be Greer. A little small change. Enough to throw the shot off. As you recall, Dan, UConn consistently scored on inbounds passes. This year, not as effective. Now, granted, there were some pretty good shooters in the last number of years for them, and they ran some great sets, but that's something that they lack at this juncture as well. And one of the better looks that time by Mouring.
And Mouring at the line, where he's an 84% shooter on the season. He and El-Amin do this as well as any pair of guards in the conference, maybe the country. El-Amin's up close to 90%. Joel Salvi on senior night has raised his numbers from last year to this year, has raised his minutes. He comes off the bench. Rutgers folks saying if there were such an award as a 6th man in the conference, they feel he would be the guy to get it.
And Kevin Bannon in today's local paper, the North Star Ledger, was saying that you want to hire a guy like that. He's going to be successful because he comes with effort every time he shows up.
What a great story, too, of how they got him. Kevin Bannon was stranded during a storm with another coach in an airport and asked the coach, you know, I need a guy just to rebound, defend, give me a little energy. Salvi at the time was at Allegheny College, junior college players.
Ooh.
Look at Robertson all the way, and a block by Kent, but a foul is called. And Salvi's name was thrown out there, and Bandit said, all right, I'll have a look at him, and there you go. Great player for 2 years, just because he happened to be stranded in an airport.
Now, you tell quick stories, and Tony blew by your story.
Wow, did he?
Was that explosive? Good things happen once in a while to you as a coach, where somebody recommends somebody who comes in and makes your program. The whole student body as well in accord with the feelings of the coaching staff. Great following here for Joel Salvi.
Robertson averaging 7 points per game off the bench, coming off a good one. Had 13 against West Virginia on Saturday, had 15 in an earlier win over Arizona, so he's been a factor.
Well, you saw that speed. That's something you can't teach. And as he learns to garner it, when to turn it up, when to back it off. Nice cross court.
Tennis, too strong.
Well, they are stepping it up now. Oop.
A little too much.
Yep, a little too much juice on that bounce. But Tony can rev him up.
This is an unusual lineup for UConn right now, with Freeman on the bench with 3 fouls. Voskuil's in the middle. Deng is at the power forward spot, and 3 pure guards on the floor for Connecticut.
Ooh, little discard there.
Remember, Edmund Saunders suspended indefinitely for a violation of team policy. He did not make the trip down here to Rutgers. What a slide through by Kent. And the other small forward, Doug Wren, just reinstated, if you will, traveling with the team, dressing for the game, but he hasn't played, so they're thin on the wing. Left hand for Voskuil.
And he's not thin with that wing. A little kiss delivery. But those are the things you feel like saying, come on, guys, let's get in step here. We got a nice thing going.
Yep.
And so hopefully he will learn as well. And a lot of that nonsense that really curtails your ability to win. And Dahntay stepping up pretty good from deep.
And great dribble penetration by Greer. And then the pass off to Dahntay for the 3. And Rutgers back within 10.
Look at the big guy. He's got some ability. They call a walk. He can use the bounce, though. I don't think Jimmy Calhoun was enamored by that particular move.
And everybody getting ready here with the rack to root on the Scarlet Knights. Dabney back into the game, and now for Tennis. So the leg must be better. UConn having trouble controlling the ball, but everything else they've done well. They've shot well, rebounded well, defended well.
And they've caused, and this is another quick hitter. They weren't ready, but early in the game, they forced Rutgers to use clock on their man-to-man offense. Greer with the knockdown.
Back-to-back threes by Jones and Greer. The spin for El-Amin. He leaves it short and a chance to run. Greer got pushed.
Good call, Dan. No question about it, as Jake, in a sense, the first guy down. You want your perimeter people to get down, but this, a little joy here in Piscataway / New Brunswick. A counter. UConn's had nice runs, but you can see the 6'10" center. Your perimeter people are negligent if you let a break go like that.
Jeff Greer's become a really nice player here in Rutgers. His brother Ricardo Greer stars at Pittsburgh, but don't forget about Jeff. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 40% shooter from beyond the arc.
Not too bad.
No, overlooked a little bit.
Once in a while he'll drift in watching tape too. A good handler. That's maybe one of the reasons UConn's matching up with perimeter people too, Dan.
Dabney couldn't squeeze it.
The fans are rapid.
They are right back into it, aren't they?
They don't take much time off.
Right now, they pretty much know their team is destined for the NIT, but listen to the noise. They love when a ranked team comes in here. Last year against Syracuse, it was an unbelievable scene when the Scarlet Knights, who then appeared to be headed to the NCAA, knocked off the Orangemen. There's a hold on Jones. That was the game. I don't know if you recall. Rob Hodgson kept getting cut, kept having to get new uniforms because he was bleeding, and he had a great game that night. They stormed the floor after the win, and they're looking for an excuse to storm the floor.
Well, you know, it's happened a few times. I remember back a few years back, Bobby Wenzel with UNLV coming in here.
Right.
Chark showed up, figured he'd walk out. He didn't realize the red was for Rutgers. There's that flare screen they tried in the first half. Mouring, pretty good footwork.
This is the shot. Voskuil with another rebound. And 2 more for Jake Voskuil, who is having the offensive night of his UConn career.
And the only way to stop him is put your arms around him, as El-Amin did there. in position to dominate. The weak side, great effort, the gather, the lean, the body search, and then the finish. And he's got, we talk about Joel's enthusiasm, whether he's on the bench, not playing well, the same enthusiasm for his team.
Jake Voskel's career high is 19 points last month against Syracuse. This is the free throw. He's got 15 points, 9 rebounds as UConn gets it back.
And he's the one telling Gallant to slow it up. Now this is another get Jake in the game. A little power.
And they'll keep feeding the post until Rutgers finds a way to stop it. And a lot of Voskel's points have come on the offensive glass as well tonight.
There's the side pick and roll and a double on the other side. Good slip by Voskel.
Off the screen comes Mouring. Still UConn ball. Wait, Curtis Shaw in to talk it over with John Clockerty. Rutgers ball.
And well, you're happy for a moment.
And Jim Calhoun not thrilled with that call. 8-point lead. That's some great shooting tonight by UConn from beyond the arc, a perfect 4 of 4, and also on the offensive glass, Jake Voskel having a field day with the offensive rebounds and the putbacks.
He sure is, and part of it is understanding where to be. Part of it also, whether it's a deployment or not, are shots soft enough to follow. But stepping up big time, and they'll need him as they get into postseason play.
Right now, the number 5 seed in the Big East tournament, they could finish anywhere between 4th and 8th in the Big East standings, and obviously that'll have a dramatic impact on who they play in the first round. Rutgers sits in the number 8 spot right now.
And we didn't mention St. John's and Duke. Was that an impressive win? Mike Krzyzewski paying homage to that tough-minded group of guys. Mike Jarvis got to be proud of them.
Well, at what point does Mike Jarvis get some consideration for Big East Coach of the Year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's down the stretch here. A lot of things can change.
Yep.
Pretty penetration. Everything but.
And Awan the rebound. Suleiman Awan back into the game for Voskel. A little hesitation by El-Amin, and he buries it.
And he got rid of the traffic with that particular play. Now, that's the old feel. And the quick timeout by Kevin Bannon. Collett looking around, lets the traffic go by like it's the Jersey Turnpike at rush hour. He's in the fast lane. No tokens, please. Just blow on by. Everybody runs by, protects the basketball, and Billett then has to counter. His job to get back and protect and then come out on the point guard.
More great hoop coming your way after this game tonight as Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues from Austin, Texas, where number 15 Texas, led by Chris Mihm and Gabe Manecki, take on Kansas. Luke Axtell, the former Longhorn, still out for Kansas with an undisclosed illness. He won't play in this game. And then late it's Utah and Wyoming. Cowboys have won 4 in a row. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.
Now you know that joke of what exit do you live off the Jersey Turnpike, right? Everybody 9 for New Brunswick. As they get up further,
you are the governor.
I don't know about that.
And of course, you should try walking through this building with Mr. Raftery. He knows everybody in the joint.
Well, we lost enough here. A lot of people fond to see the blue and white come in here.
Hey,
Tommy Amaker's changed that a little
I was going to say this year's. Look at this. What a feed and what a finish. Again, it's Greer to Jones.
Now, that is a testimony to preparation and a great use of a timeout. A set play to get them back in, maybe get a little juice and a counter here. Dang, and Jimmy Calhoun put them back in. The walk, got a little on edge about that play. Pulled the hook and got him back in.
Aju Deng, so heavily hyped before the year. The coaches picked him to be the preseason newcomer of the year in the conference. He hasn't lived up to those expectations, but he's got a lot of skill.
See that strength to discard. And not dirty. I mean, good basketball, forearm, and then get the puppy set.
16 for Dahntay Jones. The lead back down to 8. And 3 seconds to call.
Tell you.
Well, Jim Calhoun is really, he's starting to get on the officials at both ends of the floor here. He's getting on John Clockerty a lot, giving it to Jim Burr.
Well, I'll tell you. You know my analysis of that? Jimmy Calhoun thought the one change call was due to rabbit ears. And I think that was one of those, we're around here. We're going to run the show. That's my guess. I mean, that'll get you hot under the collar if you're a coach. But Very good crew here, too.
Everything but the finish for Kent. That's the bad news because of the way that he shoots free throws, but he is so strong inside.
Now, I'm sure Jim Burr will deny what I said. He'll say the guy was there for 3 seconds.
Well, remember that Jim Calhoun was so upset after the second Notre Dame game. UConn's been beaten by Notre Dame twice this year. And after the second game, there was a huge disparity in free throws. And Jim Calhoun, without naming names, said, I thought we played very well. Just 3 people cost us the game. And it was.
You know what? The only thing I don't like about that is that it takes away from Notre Dame's great effort. I mean, they won the game, and those things do happen. And I didn't see it. Maybe they didn't penetrate. Maybe they didn't get inside. Some nights there is a disparity. But the one thing Artie Highland has done is gotten a consistent group of officials. You see the faces. I mean, they're doing the best job possible. And I know they don't play favorites. They just want to do a good job.
How about the ovation as Rashad Kent hits his first free throw in 4 tries tonight. And the lead is down to 7. Salvi back in the game for Tenise. Vosco back in the game for UConn.
And a little nickel dimer by Dahntay Jones. He didn't have to hold on there as they ran that double.
Number 3 on Jones. He committed a huge foul in the game at Pittsburgh on the weekend. Picked up his 4th midway through the second half. Kevin Bannon said 35 feet away from the basket on Ricardo Greer. And right after that, when he went out of the game, the Panthers went on a 13-0 run. They need him on the floor.
And then Freeman just went to the box to get number 4 on Jones. That was not a good foul by Dahntay.
Looking for Freeman again. Jones has to let him go. Good help from Salvi. Great help from Salvi. Greer's got friends.
Trailer. Ooh. What a basket, Dan.
Not many guys in this league make that play.
No, what body control. Oh, my goodness, and his hip hurts. I'd be out for the year.
Dahntay with 18, the high scorer in the game, and it's a 5-point lead for UConn. A walk on El-Amin. Good D by Billett.
Tell you what, I don't think he ever lifted his pivot foot. It looked it because he moved the front foot. But that's what they've got to do. Penetrate or use the post people as people make a run. This is just an incredible use of God-given talent. And that's, you're in a corkscrew almost, able to finish. And Joel doesn't look that bad, but they're paying tuition.
What a nice atmosphere here at the Rack. They call it the Rackmosphere. Capacity 8,500. A lot of the sellouts have come in the Kevin and Bannon era. The recruiting has started to pick up. Jeff Greer, Dahntay Jones, Todd Billett, Hervé Lamazana, as you talked about, who's coming in next year. They're trying to keep a lot of the good Jersey kids at home, and they're competing with Tommy Amaker over at Seton Hall, who's competing with St. John's. With so much talent in this area, they're trying to keep it home. But it's nice to see a team that's seemingly destined for the NIT, that they have sold it out, and they are having some fun tonight here with the Huskies in town.
That was now that time. I don't know if the foot moved on that particular play, but a lob off a timeout, a penetration off of that timeout. Rutgers, and you mentioned they're thinking NIT. They got a foul on you on that play. They may be thinking more as they get into the tournament. Why not run the table? I think that's the way players have to feel, and coaches.
It won't stay down for Greer. He's upset. Tomorrow night over on ESPN2. How about checking out Pepe Sanchez and the Owls? Maybe the hottest team in the country right now. Are they destined for a #1 seed? If they can run the table, they'll take on St. Joe's. A little Big 5 action tomorrow night on ESPN2.
And from Martelli's team against St. Joe's, they play with a lot of spirit, and they know how to play against the zone, so that could be a real good one. And they go to Jake after the timeout. How about Kent? Is that number 3 on steals?
He
Great footwork.
So quick for a guy his size. Salvi.
Got a good one. Numbers.
El-Amin ahead to Freeman, right by Billett for the crown.
Oh, to the chin with authority, and a nice play by Billett not to foul. Well, that's Connecticut's king. Woo-woo, get it out.
Last thing Kevin Bannon wants is a track meet. He knows his team doesn't have quite the legs that UConn has.
They're going to force him to take more time. That's too easy a look. And right now, El-Amin looked fatigued on that particular play. Didn't stay up, didn't deny him the ball, didn't challenge or close out.
Todd Billett's third free of the night has brought Rutgers back within 3 in what was once a 15-point game. Voskuhl, option number 1 offensively. Ajo Deng, number 2 and number 3 to get it to go.
Well, now when he gets the ball, Jake, you've got to help out. That left Deng to roam a little bit, get close to the rim, and complete.
Deng with 8, coming off a 10.9 rebound effort on the weekend against West Virginia, starting to become a factor.
Little flare. They are working, and you just see taking advantage right now. And this is the dilemma. Robertson's going to go in for El-Amin, and in fatigue at the end of games, so essential to be ready to play both ends.
Energy and momentum favoring Rutgers back within 5. Connecticut leading Rutgers by 5. Scarlet Knights on a big run. Dahntay Jones from outside, Todd Billett from outside, and Rashad Kent muscling his way inside. Here's the Zurich storyline. Big rebounding advantage and field goal percentage advantage for UConn, although Rutgers has been very hot in the second half. Voskuhl with 15 and 9 on his way to a very big night. Dahntay Jones with some incredibly athletic moves here in the second half.
And Dan, I think at some point in games you got to think matchup. Right now, Freeman with Jones. If that's the matchup, maybe get it to the box a little bit. See if you get Dahntay out of the game, although he is getting a blow at this point. But some of those things come into the coaching minds on the sideline. Look at Kent digging.
And a 3-second call on Kent.
And that one I buy. He's been ducking in and holding off. And they don't get the ball or the timing of the reversal to when he shapes up.
Nearing the midway point of the second half. Dan Schulman and Bill Raftery with you in Piscataway. UConn leading 58-53. Huskies looking for their 20th win of the season. They're 19-8. Rutgers 15-12.
And by the way, they did try to get Freeman, but it was Greer on him right.
Apologize for the technical difficulties. We're here at ESPN Studios. We're going to take a short break, try to clear this up, and we'll be back right after this.
Men, do you want to see your abs and
to the community, and that's why a lot of us are involved in the Big Buddy program. A chance to give children something they would otherwise never see, to meet their heroes.
When I pass it to you, just give it right back. All right, now give it back. Oh, shooting! Pass the ball! Pass the ball! Easy, man. Like defense! Get on him! Get on him! Get it out!
Being a Big Buddy allows us to give back, and, you know, that feels pretty good.
Get out! Walk off! Your parents signed the permission slip. Get up, man.
And hi, everybody. Brian Kenny and Digger Phelps here. We're going to get you back out to the game. UConn still on top of Rutgers right now. But once again, 58-53. The Huskies do have the lead, and I believe we can get right back out to the game now. So, Digger, look, we all get all excited. We're all ready to go.
Dahntay Jones, hot. Look out.
Back out to the ball game. Gentlemen, take it away.
And welcome back. We apologize for some transmission problems that have now been taken care of. Rashad Kent lays it up and in for Rutgers. The other basket you missed while we were away, a baseline jumper for Albert Mouring. Once again, it is a 5-point game, and now Ajo Deng a little bit shaken up.
Well, he got a hit, and he had a loose basketball. The interesting aspect, you've got to get the ball first and then worry about the harm done to your body second. I mean, that was a big play. Now, granted, he did take a little bit of a jolt, but he ran right by the ball and gave Rutgers a chance to score.
He's a guy, you know, they're going to try to get into the weight room.
All right, hi, everybody. Brian Kenny and Digger Phelps back here in our ESPN studios, and we are ready to go, and we apologize for this technical difficulties, obviously, in the transmission of this game, but we'll get back to it as soon as possible. Of course, we have games later on. We've got some Big 12 basketball at 9 Eastern time with Texas and Kansas. Digger, talking about this as well. Well, we'll take a break right now. Here on ESPN, we go back to the ball game. All right, the ball game is back. Dan Schulman, Bill Raftery back in New Jersey. Guys, go ahead.
And we're back. Satellite flitting in and out on us here, but we're back here at the rack. Dan Schulman and Bill Raftery, thank you for sticking with us. 5-point game. It's been a good one.
It's been real solid. Give and take. Rutgers with a nice run, getting back in it, and offensive-minded with their cuts and the ability to get Dahntay Jones involved a little bit. Bruce Brown Athletic Center, Piscataway, New Jersey.
Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Jeff Greer with a jumper to make it a 3-point game. Kansas and Texas behind us. UConn, Wyoming at midnight Eastern after Sports Center, and it is now officially rocking at the rack with Rutgers back within 3.
See if they establish inside, and they tried to. Long time in there. Nice hold off by Kareem Wright.
Just into the game for the first time tonight. 6'9", 300-pound freshman.
Nice to get a glance at Digger and Reese during the course of the
A little
game.
more face time for Digger.
Good country. Would rather see them, I'm sure.
Big turnover trouble for Connecticut tonight. Rutgers is 4-17. Todd Billett on the bench right now, so Luis Flores will handle along with Jeff Greer. See if Rutgers can get by with Billett getting a brief rest. He plays about 35, 36 minutes a night.
A lot off the dribble, so you got to contain and lead him to the big guy.
Foul on Ajo Dang.
All you got to do is stay big and lead him.
Boy, Jake Voskuhl really in the face of Curtis Shaw. Shaw giving it right back, and now Kevin Freeman having to intervene.
Well, I don't think he reached down. And I'll tell you what, that's a tough one, huh? The penetration and the big guy right there. Jim Calhoun not happy about it either. Big thing, though, is I don't think you can permit guys to turn the corner that easily. It puts more pressure on the big guy. He doesn't get the right angle or drop.
Greer missed the first. Rutgers struggling at the line, just 7 of 14 as a team tonight. They're not a great free throw shooting team generally at just over 65%. Greer hits one, and it's a 2-point game.
Side pick and roll, double the other side.
El-Amin for 3. Huge shot.
I don't think if this to right or not.
Yeah, I think the foul is before the basket. Wow, that's a painful one if you're UConn. Jim Calhoun wants the basket, but Curtis Shaw says it came before the shot.
Not a bad argument, huh?
A good trade if you're Kevin Bannon. He'll take the foul on Kareem Wright any day to keep the 3 off the scoreboard. Calhoun gets an explanation that seems to have satisfied him.
Coaches are never satisfied. He's still human over that last block at the other end.
60-58 UConn. 7:49 to play second half. We'll be back to Piscataway after this. Well, it's really picked up here in Rutgers over the last few minutes as the Scarlet Knights have made a run. Some incredible shooting for them in the second half, same as UConn had in the first half. Dahntay Jones has been all over the place, and just as importantly, UConn hasn't been able to get Jake Voskuhl many touches, many looks in the last few minutes, and it reminds you that a lot of his offense tonight is he's done on his own off the offensive glass.
On follows, he's been picking and screening, maybe a touchdown that wouldn't hurt. A big matchup right now is Billett and El-Amin, and the reason is Billett can run him on the other end. Fatigue becomes important. They slide behind. He made the last jumper, looking for another. Force.
And Billett got a piece. Greer saves it to Kent. And a foul is called on El-Amin.
And they're into the bonus situation, as you noted. That was one of those, you have your mind set, you're going to take that jumper. That's where your point guard has to back off just a little bit. Don't try and force the issue. He's got a great heart, trying to put it on his own shoulders. Utilize those around you.
Number 3 on El-Amin. Freeman has 3 as well. 1-1 for Kent. 1 of 4 tonight, 49% on the season. You wonder if it stays this close the rest of the way, if Kevin Bannon can afford to have him on the floor the way he shoots free throws.
Well, you see a lot of that, don't you, guys, at the end of the game. It's unfortunate. That's one thing he's got to work on this summer, though. The softness. It takes a while. It's generally the head that's the problem.
UConn with just 17 points in 13 minutes here in the second half. Rutgers' only lead in this game was 2-0. And Salvi is called for bodying up on Deng.
Well, it looks like they're trying to clean it up a little bit. A little screen across and then the post up.
Number 2 on Salvi. That's the 7th for Rutgers. So now UConn goes to the line.
He's shooting them down the stretch. Deng it. Well, that struggles a little.
Yeah, just 5 of 13 on the season. Not a physical player. Doesn't get to the line very often. 13 free throws on the year for a guy who plays 13 minutes a night. Not very many at all.
That looked pure.
What do you think about his upside? Is it as high as many feel it is?
Yeah, Jimmy was saying that last year all the hype was due to his good workouts as they were going into the NCAA play. They get a lane violation here. Mouring, let's see, they give it a double.
Jeff Greer.
They give him one more. But at any rate, finishing the thought, writers saw him play and he played very well. And I think there's a big upside against Seton Hall. He played well. It's spotty as newcomers. It takes them a while to find their gait and their game.
It will be so important for this program next year, obviously, with Freeman gone, Voskuhl gone.
And if I'm not mistaken, they've got a couple of guys in the McDonald's All-American.
Yes,
don't they?
They've got a couple of guys, good size. Karan Butler, 6'7", Scott Hazelton, 6'8", and a point guard, Talik Brown, coming in at 6'1", and nobody quite sure whether El-Amin will return for his senior season.
Now, UConn's got to make him use clock, and Rutgers run their sets, and they've been using the dribble with impact.
Billett gets his shot off. A little strong. He likes to shoot it off the dribble. He was telling us earlier this morning he's not really a standstill shooter, which is what you think of when you think of Jeff Billett.
And he's got more of a point guard mentality, so he likes to penetrate and dish or shoot it off the bounce.
And brother Jeff, the number 9 all-time scorer here at Rutgers, now an assistant coach at Monmouth.
They must be playing because he's usually here watching his baby brother. Nice slip by Jake. Good call, too.
A block is the call on Salvi. That'll be 3 on him.
Not a bad read by Joel. A tad late, but that's some deployment there. As all of a sudden, you have to come from off the basketball. They keep you centered very well. Nice slip by Jake.
There he is.
No, nice off. Our crack crew, Chip Dean.
They're holding out on us.
Yeah.
Todd wearing 22, just as Jeff did.
Well, normally we get to see him. He must have arrived late. Sophisticated style.
And here's little brother Todd. Now Kent's not going to shoot it from out there.
Now everybody knows each other's plays at this time of the year.
Jones. That would have tied it. Another rebound for Voskuhl.
How about that one? Towering over everybody. Now that was a little bit of a settle too by Dahntay. You don't want to feed UConn with long jumpers.
Voskuhl calling for it.
The big guys stick together.
No call.
Pretty pass too. Wow, Freeman with the finish and a good non-call too.
Back to a 5-point game. Voskuhl getting it done in all departments tonight. Greer trying to penetrate again, and there's a foul.
We mentioned Freeman having to play guys away from the basket, being the stopper, but look at Jake begging, please, dump it in here. And look at that. You can't knock him over with a bulldozer, but the fine by Jake. Pretty good as Freeman gets in position.
At the other end, the foul on Albert Mouring, just his second. And Greer to the line. He's had an knack of penetrating here tonight.
Now, this is one of those dilemma periods, I think, for Jim Calhoun. Should I take El-Amin out for a minute to spot him? They need him on the floor to run the show. I think Voskuhl asked to come out, get a quick blow as they get into the stretch.
Suleiman getting set to check in. Rutgers continues to hurt its chances at the free throw line, hitting just about 50% tonight. Voskuhl wide open, and Salvi somehow comes up with a clean block.
What a look by Billett. And along came Jones. Does that light the house up? Salvi continues to amaze.
That's Mom right there, Joel Salvi's mother, who is here for senior night. Denise is here, Dad Barry is here, and they're loving what they're seeing as Rutgers is back within 2.
That was a big-time move by Voskuhl, and what a counter by Joe.
Salvi the block, Jones to finish. Everybody's standing here at the rack.
A lot of perimeter weaving.
Shot clock in play now, down to 5. Mouring for 3.
Onions! Big-time delivery.
47% three-point shooter on the year. A huge one for UConn. He's 3 of 3 tonight from out there. Greer tries to answer, and nobody underneath for the rebound.
And 2 settles with that fast break mixed in the middle. Been getting good impact with the bounce stand and get away from it.
Rutgers is past the point where they like moral victories, losing close games to good teams. To take this program to the next level, they need the W's. Offensive foul, Jake Voskuhl.
Wow. That is a tough one to go against you. That is very tough. Pretty good reaction defensively, but never established position. And I don't have the benefit of the replay either. By that, it's a first guess.
3:41 to play. 5-point game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball presented by Bud Light is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, get in, be moved. And by Rogaine Extra Strength for Men.
Well, as the game's gone along, there's been more and more contact inside, especially at UConn's offensive end. Voskuhl and Ken Voskuhl and Salvi. And this is a call which goes against the Huskies.
Well, it's a bang-bang, but I think Greer's there still moving. You've got to establish yourself before the man elevates it. This is the counterplay that's just extraordinary. That's the ability to step in. But Voskuhl, I thought, give him the goal and go the other way. Don't even blow the whistle. And I believe that's number 3 on him, too.
3:41 to play, and right now Jake Voskuhl is on the bench. Suleiman Awan and Ajo Deng up front, along with Kevin Freeman, Khalid El-Amin, and Albert Mouring in the backcourt. Rutgers returns Todd Billett, Jeff Greer, Dahntay Jones, Joel Salvi, and Rashad Kent. Dahntay Jones has had a big night. He's got a game-high 20. Remember, Rutgers' only lead was at 2-0. They have gotten within 2 here in the second half. Right now have the ball down by 5.
And a full court pressure. They haven't done it in a while. And close. Oh, my goodness.
Very close.
What a save by Jones.
Todd Billett, the freshman, quarterbacking the Scarlet Knights.
And Billett should move without the ball. That will get him free and force Khalid to work harder.
Kent trying to get position on Awan. Jones just snakes his way in, gets it back, and he'll shoot a couple.
Tell you what, they're hanging tough. I mean, the big inside defense is stepping up magnificently for UConn, but they can't squeeze it and get it going the other way. How about the forceful attitude of Dahntay Jones, too? He's undeterred.
Number 4 on Suleiman Awan. See if Rutgers can start connecting at the line. Jones is 69% shooter on the season.
Big upside to this player. He's got the range and the strength, the ability to put it on the floor.
Here comes Jake Voskuhl back into the game. What a night it's been for him. They don't seem to like him too much, though.
Jake, not a warm New Jersey welcome. More like a Bronx cheer here.
Dahntay Jones, Kevin Bannon's first in-state recruit since coming to Rutgers. And here's how much he likes the kid coming in next year, Hervé Lamazana. Kevin Bannon said today he thinks Lamazana has more upside than any player he's recruited. And Dahntay Jones has a world of upside.
Danny Hurley was raving last week about Lamazana be a presence, something that could help in the bad gamble out here. 5 against 4, pretty dish. You see that sellout defensively, you put the pressure on everybody. You should stay at Horn. You got a little roll going.
And Kevin Bannon couldn't even bear to watch. He saw it all developing. Back to a 5-point lead for the Huskies. And now a timeout called by Rutgers. 30-second timeout. Super Tuesday on ESPN tomorrow night, and it begins with a dandy out of the Big Ten. Number 22 Purdue, number 12 Indiana, in the in-state battle there between Gene Cady and Bobby Knight. 7 Eastern. Game 2, Kentucky, ranked 18th in the country, heading to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, Go.com. The SEC, one of those conferences that might draw 6 bids into the NCAA tournament. Big 12 thinking maybe they'll get 6, and the Big East thinks that they might get 6, and the whole conference was excited when St. John's beat Duke.
I was going to say, they might thank St. John's, but look at this closeout. Full tilt speed. Now, Jake does not charge your body control, the pivot, feet established, and the little dish.
3 for Billett.
That would have been big for them. And Joel with a giveaway here. Salvi got to concede some.
And there's still plenty of time. Don't need to be doing that.
Don't panic.
Rutgers personals on number 3, Joel Salvi. That's his 4th.
Number 4 on Salvi, and Voskuhl will shoot at the other end.
And the reason I say St. John's, but all of a sudden the country's saying, well, this team's pretty good. Maybe this conference is better. Right. The RPI improves both for the league. I did not see it, but somebody mentioned it jumped to 4th. Is that what you were told?
That's what we were told, from 7th to 4th in a couple of days. So take that with a grain of salt, perhaps, but it is factored in. Voskuhl at the line, 15 points, 12 rebounds tonight. Misses the front end, and Kevin Freeman loses it out of bounds despite a terrific effort.
Sure was. Great hustle. And Billett right over there to cover with him as well. Now the little things now. Free throws. You make them, put a little pressure on the team. They back off the pressure now, UConn.
Don't forget, UConn's lost 4 of 7, scraped one out at the buzzer over West Virginia, and after this one, they'll finish up the regular season at home to Syracuse. I mean, they need a win just for a little confidence, little momentum heading into the postseason. Greer for 3.
Look at Jake Hustle. He's on the out-of-bounds line. I think. Yep. Okay. Good call.
There's no give up in either team tonight.
No, it's really been a fun game. Settling a little bit for jumpers could hurt Rutgers. And that's 3 I can distinctly. They run their play before the ball's inbounded. Sort of telltale.
Yeah. When they were doing really well earlier in the half, Jeff Greer was penetrating and either taking it all the way to the basket or finding open guys.
They switched the play here. Pretty good call by Rutgers.
Back into the hands of Billett. 2 minutes to go. Salvi needs some help. Finds Billett. Losing a lot of time. Kent with a nice dish to Salvi.
Was it? As they tried to double and cover in the lane. Great feel there by Rashad Kent.
Kansas and Texas just minutes away here on ESPN as Big Monday presented by Bud Light continues, but an exciting minute and a half still to come here in Piscataway.
When they're inside screens and flex look.
El-Amin short.
And they got a no possession. So everybody looking for the jumper. Nobody going to the box with the pill.
And a timeout for Jim Calhoun. 1:05 to play. UConn ball up 3.
Well, he looks like he's been through the wars, huh? It's a lot of close games. But the ability to field defenders, the double occurs, the kickback, little nylon by Salvi. The reigning hero here as Kevin Bannon tries to muster his clubs here for the last minute 5.
And a mom and dad, Denise and Barry, watching their son Joel on senior night. Junior college players spent the last couple of years here. Remember, Rutgers seemingly headed for the NIT, would likely get a home game, so he could actually play here again. But this is senior night, and there was a nice ceremony before the game and a thunderous ovation.
Good, solid man-to-man. They spread. This is a turn the corner and find somebody. See if they can pinch.
UConn runs the shot clock inside 10. All El-Amin.
Oh, my goodness. What a great move, but didn't finish. And out in numbers. Give it up.
Kent to Greer. And a foul is called on Jake Voskuhl. That will be his 4th. And Jeff Greer will go to the line.
Great hustle by the big guy. But you can just see Khalid El-Amin in the lane. And I mentioned fatigue. And some of this creates problems. The run out at the end here. And Jake, you can see the head. He got a lot of the ball up top. Wonderful hustle. And Rutgers hanging tough. Not playing their best of the season, but showing mettle and hanging tough.
Greer struggling from the line tonight. Rutgers is, as a team, just 11 of 20 overall.
These are the ones, though, you shoot a little better down the stretch if you got a game in you.
33 seconds to play. Greer can bring them within 1. Rutgers does not have a win over a ranked team this season.
Oh, what a big rebound. Rutgers unable on the long one together, trying to give it.
And finally, Dahntay Jones reaches in to foul El-Amin. That's the 4th on Jones.
And he's up there in the high 80s,
yeah,
88, right?
This is the problem. El-Amin and Mouring are 2 of the best free throw shooters in the Big East.
And the ability to make them late. That's one of those things when you look at UConn and they're struggling, it's easy to look at the guards because Khalid has meant so much to that program. It sort of defines what they're after. Running game, setting up the press, penetrating. And when he's off a little bit, Carl Hobbs now and Tom Moore check him. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to play this, whether they're going to get in the lane.
No.
They do get Freeman in there. They put 1 in.
It'll be a 2-shot foul for El-Amin. Each team has committed 10 fouls here in the second half, so double bonus both ways. The Big East tournament begins a week from Wednesday. And tip to trophy coverage on ESPN and ESPN2. UConn, as we mentioned, right now is the number 5 seed, although they could wind up anywhere from 4th through 8th, depending on how things sort themselves out. So right now, they would play Providence. Automatic that Connecticut will have to play on the first day. They cannot finish in the top 3. Rutgers right now is number 8, so they would have that 11 in the morning game that Mr. Raftery loves so much on a Wednesday.
Well, tee it up. A little coffee and a little bagel. But I don't think they're thinking about the tournament right now. I'm curious to see whether they do put people on the line. A lot of coaches will opt on a free throw for your team to put everybody back. And my thinking is, even if they're both made, you've got time to push it up quickly versus being there, maybe putting a little heat or putting the heat out.
Ron Franklin, Dick Vitale standing by. Kansas, Texas coming up next.
And the big thing now, Rutgers has got to prepare for what they want to do. On the score, how they want to score, what type of press. If they can keep Khalid El-Amin and Mouring from touching the basketball, that would suit them.
88% on the season.
Oh, my, tantalizing. The people in red in the band section did more body movements than you've seen from Chubby Checker.
You just wonder if there's anything that makes this guy tense. The bigger they are, the more he likes to shoot them.
Now, their job is to force Rutgers to use a lot of clock. Don't let them rush and turn the corner.
2-possession game.
Go for the 2.
Well, good pressure. Jones.
Oh,
a 3. He forced it up and he hit it. Dahntay Jones with 25 points.
And look at this, by the way.
El-Amin and Salvi getting into it a little bit.
Well, what had happened is the bodies got entangled, and Joel leveled El-Amin. And I just saw the end of it as the ball came up the floor with Tony Robertson. But right here, you know, we mentioned go for the two because it's a two possession, and they're going to call it the fifth foul.
Fifth foul on Joel Salvi. His senior night comes to an end a little bit prematurely.
One of those fouls, maybe he didn't have to complete.
And the RU chant has been replaced by Salvi. And his mom and dad look on. Only 2 years here, but written up in every local newspaper as a folk hero, one of the most popular players to play here in many years. And whoa,
well, that's some takedown.
Yeah,
and that's one of those you wonder why and where the head is. And good composure by El-Amin and Joel too. How proud of those parents, and rightfully so. I mean, to see your son play, to give everything he has, and then be embraced by the community of the school. It's got to be so fulfilling for them.
Will graduate with a degree in communications, but we'll have to watch the rest of this one from the bench. Tony Robertson at the line.
Now, you mentioned the ability to make free throws late in the game. 69, hovering on 70.
Even if he hits it, it's still a one-possession game. But remember, UConn's been a monster on the glass. 3-point game, 13.8 seconds to play. Rutgers 7 of 15 from three-point range tonight. And a timeout taken by Kevin Bannon with just over 9 seconds to play. That'll be their final timeout.
And they like for a three-point play to use a flare screen. Others have a stagger, one after the other, where they run guys off it and then face the basketball. The third option, down and through on the baseline and turn and cross-court it as well, Dan, as the jam occurs.
They've got some options from beyond the arc. Dahntay Jones, Jeff Greer, and Todd Billett all shoot the three well.
The other ability is penetrate and kick or catch on the box, fake an attempt and kick outside.
What a second half it's been for Dahntay Jones.
Stretch of the day. That was a set play off a timeout. The flare in the open floor, the body control, and away from Jack, able to kiss it home as he saw the big fella looming. Jake Voskuhl turn baseline. Outstanding night.
Jones with 25, too shy of his season high, had 27 against Princeton. He's out there with Greer and Billett, the shooters, and then Kent and Dabney, the inside guys. And Rutgers has done a very good job from beyond the arc.
And Jim Valvano steal, what a place to do it. Oh, my goodness. And that's, I was just going to say, Jim Valvano, the late great and former Rutgers star, used to like to foul before. Don't let him shoot it.
Right.
And he'll get to two. And at that time, Todd Billett in the open floor, the miscue with El-Amin right there. As he tried to cross over in front. Got to value that basketball. He knows how big it is. The little guy with the Valentine.
Good effort by Rutgers, but El-Amin with some very big plays down the stretch. And pretty much salted away with one. And he's shushing the crowd behind the basket. The more you get on him, the more he wants to get right back on you.
Bring it to me.
That's right.
Now, it's been a tough run collectively for UConn. The anticipation, the expectation level in that state. Banding together, hoping to make a concerted run here as they get into the Big East tournament as well as the NCAA.
Making their free throws down the stretch. UConn will go to 20-8 on the season. Rutgers will fall to 15-13 as the Huskies win at the rack 74-69. And Rutgers still winless against UConn in its Big East history, now stretching to an 8-game losing streak. Connecticut 74, Rutgers 69. Coming up next, Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, continues with Kansas taking on Texas. For Bill Raftery and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, Go.com, to Ron Franklin and Dick Vitale.
Okay, guys.